Therizinosaurus is an extremely versatile mount. Not only is it great for farming, but with power that rivals a Rex, it makes a great option for boss fights, which is why I decided to design a theri trap that's cheap, easy to build, and simple to use, and in this video, I'll show you what I came up with. Let's get cracking. Alright you tinkers, I'm Toastbloke and today I want to share with you my Therizinosaur trap design, which is super simple. It is a 5-piece trap. It does require a door, I'll explain more on that later, but it's really effective and I've got this working every single time for me. So if you're looking for a Therizinosaur trap, this just might be the video for you. Now to get started, we will show you this trap in action and show you how you operate it. I have my usual little keypad over here, which is going to open up this door, which has a theri waiting for us. And you can kite this into the trap however you want. I like to do it on foot. I'm going to shoot with a dart. I need to try and get it over here towards this side and come through the widest point. It'll follow us in. Then you can get around the back. And because you've got some distance with the door there, you can close it without the Therizinosaur being able to hit you. So that is the trap. That is it in action. What we're going to do next is get set up and I'm going to show you how to build it. This is super simple. It only requires 5 structures in total, and those structures are a stone triangle foundation, a stone foundation, and 3 stone walls. Once you got those, you want to face the direction. You want to be running into your trap, and you are going to get out the stone triangle foundation. You want to place this first and lower it down as far as you can. If your trap's going to work in the area, you'll be able to pop a stone foundation behind that, creating an arrow, or shall we say house type shape with the foundations. From there, you want to get out your stone wall. You're going to switch it to a double doorway, and you're going to place one to the front left of the triangle foundation and one to the right hand side of the square foundation. Now you can swap those around and do them the opposite way if you wish. Just make sure they're on opposite sides. From there, you're going to change this doorway into a secret door and make sure that you snap it to the doorway that is at the front of the stone triangle foundation. So you want to look at that. You can accidentally snap it to the square foundation. Make sure it is going to the doorway there, and when it places, you'll see it sticking out and off to the side, and this is the opening that you're going to want to bring your Therizinosaur into. You can run through on this angle. It does make it a little bit better, but as long as you're going out here, you should be fine, and then you can run around and operate the secret door to trap the Therizinosaur. So that's the trap. That's how you build it. I'm going to get prepped. I'm going to show you this thing in action and actually tame a Therizinosaurus of our own. Before we get a Therizinosaur into our trap, I just want to go over the things you're going to want if you plan to tame a Therizinosaur. Now, a Therizinosaur is a herbivore, which means you don't feed this one meat. You're going to be feeding it berries and or ideally kibble, and the kibble that you're going to want is this. It's the extra large egg kibble. It's exceptional kibble. So that's what you're going to want ideally to tame these. So get yourself some Rexes and get making kibble. But if you've got this, it's going to make the tame so much easier. The other thing that I've got, you'll notice here, are narcotics. Therizinosaurs, they love to wake up quickly when you knock them out. So make sure you've got plenty of narcotics to keep them down. Other than that, I've got my saddle, I've got my trank darts, and I've got my long neck, and we are ready to go. This time, we're going to open up the pen, just get this sorted. And we're going to try and kite this in on a tame, which is something I've not done yet. I'm confident it'll work. So we're just going to go in here, aggro the theri, and we should be able to just fly straight through and slightly over the trap. Should follow us in. Park up when we're ready. It'll stay aggroed on the RG hopefully, and hit the door too. And as you can see, it can't hit us. It doesn't manage to swipe us. The way that wall, that secret door is placed, just keeps you nice and snug and safe from any danger. And because it is a doored trap, there's no way that the Therizinosaur is getting out of there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to knock it out. Super simple. It's a knockout tame. Just going to trank it until it goes down. Now, I'm not happy with this trap design. Well, I am. But I designed this months ago, right? I had this when the center was out. In fact, before the center was out. But because I've been trying to make traps that don't require doors, I stuck at this. And I came up with one when the center was out that didn't need a door. And all of a sudden one day it stopped working. So I kept trying, and I've been trying for months and months and months. And every time I feel like I'm close to having a trap that works without a door, something changes, and it turns out that I don't. And one of the main things is the Therizinosaur has like a weird mechanic. If I trap like 6 of them all at once, they all do the exact same animation and leave the trap at the same time, which is so strange. This is individual traps in different places in the same render area. So there's some sort of mechanic that the Theri seems to have that lets it get unstuck. And so I've just decided, let's go with the door trap. I need this done so I can complete my island playthrough where I trap creatures, only using traps I've designed. And yeah, that's the story behind this one. It's very much a on-land version of my Ichthyosaurus trap. And it's fairly similar in some ways, lends some ideas from my Baryonyx trap. But there it is, it works. We've got this beauty knocked out. Like I say, you want to be making sure you give this narcotics to keep its torpor up, and you want to get that exceptional kibble in to do the taming as quickly and effectively as possible. Right then, I'll be back with you when this wakes up. Just quickly, this thing hasn't even ate yet, and look how much torpor it's lost. It is flying down. It's hard to keep these things unconscious. You need the narcotics. That is why I wanted to point that out. So make sure you've got yours for your tame. But like I say, I'll be back with you when it's done. Howie, man, you've got to be feeling peckish. I was gonna say, it's been about a month since the last bite you took. But there we go. We've got our Therizinosaur all tamed up and in the trap, which is a problem. We need it out of the trap, but this one, being a doored trap, is super simple. All you're gonna do is walk up to the secret door, give it a little hit, and you can get your Therizinosaur out. Whether you want to walk it out or saddle it up and ride it out, which is what we're going to do. Let's just pop this on here, jump on top, and out we go. And there we have our Therizinosaur tamed. It really is as simple as that, not hard in the slightest. Saying that though, sometimes people do have some issues with traps on ARK Survival Ascended because the pathfinding is a little bit janky. So I'm going to just show you a couple of tips, if you want to see them, on what you can do with your trap placement to make sure it works, even if you're on a slope. Here we are then, we are at a nice steep bank, so I can show you some tips on foundation placement on uneven ground. Because as always, I would recommend you build your traps like I have on the flattest possible area. But I know that is not always possible. Now, the reason you want to be doing this on the flat, especially a trap like this, is if I want to run up the hill and into the trap, and I place my first foundation, the triangular one, and I place the square one behind, you'll notice there is a huge drop off the back here, and the Therizinosaur is never going to run up there. It just won't want to. Now, one thing you might think could fix it is by adding a roof, a ramp, or some stairs. And in some cases, if it's a very small amount, the Theri will run up them, but it doesn't like to. It doesn't want to. So placement like this is just going to be awful for the trap. Here's what I recommend you do. You want to be running along the bank so that it stays just as steep below you as it does above you. You basically want to be running along the slope. Now, when you are, you can get out your triangle stone foundation, place it where you want it, lower it, and then turn it so that the front side of the foundation lines up with the bank on a slight angle. Now, the reason you do that is so you can tuck the square foundation in behind, and straight away you can see, even on this quite steep bank, this is much easier to get up, and it allows the Therizinosaur to get into the trap. I would still probably, at this point though, use the other tip of just placing some stairs, and that's going to guarantee that the Theri doesn't see any obstructions and it's happy to run up and into the trap. It also makes your life a little bit easier there. But when banks tend to mess up pathfinding, you want to be on the flat, or you want to be building snug into the side like this. Now, you can probably find other ways of getting that better. For example, you might decide, because the other option is to place your square foundation first. If you pop that down, you've got a higher chance of the triangle fitting in ahead of it. The other way, you're going to struggle, right? So there's two tips: square first or angle the triangle, and that will help you get your trap on even the steepest of slopes. So that is what I would consider when placing foundations. The other thing is if you are coming down a bank, you're going to want to place the square first for that as well. Lower it down as far as you can, and then pop the triangle ahead. And the ferry will come down and run on into this without any problems. So there are ways to get this to work on banks and slopes. You just have to think carefully about which foundation to place first to make sure that the back of the square foundation is as low as it can possibly be. You want that foundation just above the ground. This one doesn't matter. It's not running over that one. But that back one, you need to be a little bit more careful with placing that. So there's a few tips on getting the placement right if you are working on a slope. It applies as well for slightly banked and wonky surfaces like this over here. If your back foundation is sticking up too high, add the stairs or just change the orientation of your trap. It's going to make life a lot better. But that's my Therizinosaur trap design. Like I say, I'm gutted I couldn't bring you anything more special, but this does work and it's what I'm going to be using in my playthrough. So hopefully you can get some good use out of it too. But I am going to call that there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please do remember to leave a like, subscribe and ring that notification bell. It really does help out and I'm super grateful for all of the support you continue to give us. So thank you so much. And until next time, you guys take care and I'll catch you later. Cheerio.